Well, Glenn, he made reference to our upcoming inductee who really was a superstar, a true superstar in the modern day, Pink Lloyd. It's an amazing story. This inductee features really one of racing's most magnetic personalities. He was late launching his career, but for Hall of Fame trainer Robert Tiller, the wait was worth it. He made a record number of trips to the stakes winner's circle. We just kept adding and adding and adding, and the public loved every minute of it. He took down a record haul of sovereign awards, as he should have. But what was so incredible about him was he had this quirky personality and traits that we need to learn more about still to this day. But he was almost always trustworthy in the stretch. The Canadian Horse Racing Hall of Fame is proud to induct Pink Lloyd.
The iconic Pink Lloyd is one of the greatest sprinters in Canadian racing history and the most decorated in Sovereign Award history, collecting 8 trophies during his 6 seasons on the track. The tall and leggy chestnut gelding is also the richest offspring of an Ontario stallion, Old Forester, and richest graduate of the Canadian Thoroughbred Horse Society's long-standing yearling sale at Woodbine. Having missed out on his opportunity to race at age 2 and 3 due to growing pains, Pink Lloyd made up for lost time during the 6 years he did race, winning 29 of 38 starts and earning $2.4 million under the tutelage of Canadian Horse Racing Hall of Fame trainer Robert Tiller, and often paired with Canadian Horse Racing Hall of Fame 2022 jockey inductee Eurico Rosa da Silva. Bred by John Kerry and owned by Entourage Stable, including principal owner Frank DiGiulio Jr., the gelding's first major win came in early 2017 when he captured the Jacques Cartier Stakes, a race he would win 3 more times.
Pink Lloyd in front and is finding enough. Pink Lloyd goes on to win the Jacques Cartier by almost a length.
That victory was the first of 26 career sprint stakes wins at Woodbine. A perfect season of 8 stakes wins earned him Sovereign Awards as Champion Older Horse, Outstanding Sprinter, and Horse of the Year. Over the course of the next 4 years, 5 more Sovereign Awards were earned, with Pink Lloyd reigning as the sprint champion. Pink Lloyd's 38th and final career start in the autumn of 2021 was in the Kennedy Road Stakes, when the 9-year-old gelding rushed late on the outside to snatch his 29th victory score in front of a cheering crowd filled with fans.
Pink Lloyd, monumental again, has won his final race in glory.
Following his retirement from the track, Pink Lloyd's connections donated him to Long Run Thoroughbred Retirement Society, where he is a Long Run ambassador. Pinky also contentedly enjoys daily turnouts and visits from his Hall of Fame trainer, and another familiar person from Pink Lloyd's racing career is still a regular part of his life, now that his longtime groom, Michelle, works with Long Run.
Thank you, everybody.
So making the presentation to Frank DiGiulio, a member of the Entourage Stable, along with other members, Ed Longo, John Perry, John Liccardo, Victor Mele, as well as Hall of Fame trainer Robert Tiller, accompanied by Eurico Rosa da Silva, is breeder John Kerry. Wow. Where to begin? I'd like to begin with Frank, and I'd like to end with Robert, but I'd like to start with you, Frank, because I think the public felt goosebumps every time Pink Lloyd ran. And I want to go back to the last race, even though it was the most recent, because we never wanted to say goodbye to Pink Lloyd, but the way in which we did say goodbye was perfect.
It was perfect. It was funny. I wasn't very nervous before that last race because I knew we were doing the right thing and this was the time to end it. And whatever he did was going to be great by us, whether he finished fourth or whatever. And the fact he was able to win, and you know, he started his career with 3 wins. He ended his career with 3 wins in a row. It was perfect. And not surprising with the way, the faith we always had in him. And about 90% of the time, it was rewarded. He was just amazing.
You have...
Well, just like on TV, we're very similar to the characters.
What were some of the standout moments for you?
Believe it or not, even though he won 26 stakes, it was his first win. First start, first win, and just in a maiden race. It was just a 6-horse field, but it was such a journey to get him to the races. Bob would say, I love this horse. He can run. He can really run. So I'd convey it to my partners, and he wouldn't run. He'd have to go back to the farm. And he'd come back, work well again. He'd have to go back to the farm. And I was wondering how my friendship was lasting with my friends, because it was sounding like the boy who cried wolf. But to see him win that day, and he ran in 109, and I said, you know, he is a nice horse. He'll be at least an Ontario sired stake horse, and he was a lot more than that, so, yeah.
And really, when you think to those moments where you had such faith, did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think that this would have happened for him?
Never, never. Just hoped he would make the races, hope he'd, you know, put a few races together, win some races, that's all. Anytime you buy a horse, you just hope you buy a horse that wins a few races, makes some money, and pays for himself. That's all you hope for, and we got a whole lot more than that, so.
It was so important for us as public, as people who are fans of racing, to see a horse race for so long with such success. And the gentleman to my right has stories that I'm sure you've never shared, but I want to ask you from the very beginning, because it was a late start for Pink Lloyd, what your first impressions were.
Well, you know, right from day one, he showed a lot of heart and desire, even in his works. He just wanted to win. He wanted to go after horses, and really had that magic that, you know, you see once in a while. And I just really was madly in love with this horse, and he just had the heart and desire to want to do it. And we knew that every time we worked him, I used to put a horse 4 or 5 lengths in front of him, and he'd just mow him down, and with ease. So I really thought he was a runner right from day one.
You know, in some of your interviews, you would say to us on the television, the things that you don't know about Pink Lloyd that I had to go through. Are we ever going to learn?
Yeah, well, you know, I want to tell you something. He won 26 stakes, I believe, and I lost count. I just know one thing. John Carey, the breeder, every time he won, he was waiting at the mailbox for his breeder's share. And there was a big path there, you know, so, and he got paid every time. But anyway, and I got paid every time too, and so did everybody else. So he just had such a big heart, and I don't think there'll ever be another horse like him. And you know, when you think about it, it's impossible. I've been around there a few years. I don't want to say how old I am. I'm 37 years old, so. You know, in my about 54 years, I've never seen a horse like him training horses. So, you know, we were very lucky to have him, and we went through sessions with him. You know, it might seem very simple to train a horse like this, and I noticed a few very good trainers here, but the pressure is unbelievable. And every day there's something new. We had a lot of times where I thought his career was over. I can talk about that now. And, you know, he kind of liked to be sore a lot, too, because he really felt sorry for himself. When we get the x-ray machine out and could never find anything really bad. But As a young 4-year-old, he kept having a really bad spot on his shin that made him lame, and we had to keep stomping on him. And he had a hock that we had to pin fire. And he was kind of an ugly duckling. He looked more like a camel than the great horse that he was. He had the big hump in his back. And, you know, he just didn't look like a really, really good horse. But he just had, like I said before, he had the heart and the desire. He wanted to win. And that made him very special. You know, I hate to say this here in front of this big audience, but if you look at his form, he was vanned off after winning 12 stakes, and vanned off because he bled from both nostrils. And what will we do without Lasix, folks? And he was like all other horses. He was a Lasix horse, but he had one very bad bleed, and we stopped him. These are the most patient owners in the world. We stopped him the rest of the year, and guess what? He went on to win another 14 stakes. After that, never really bled again. We found out it was a viral thing. But we went through all these terrible sessions with him. And there were other incidents. You know, he was a special horse to train. We used to hack him late in the morning. And, you know, I was waiting for the track to close so there was no other horses out there. I figured that out after, because he hated horses around him because he always wanted to go after them. And I had some really special people. Tom Lotrish, my assistant trainer for the last 30-something years, been with me over 32 years. The lady that's here tonight, Michelle Gibson, you know, Michelle, stand up, because she was the groom for Pink Lloyd. Where is she? I don't. And you didn't stand up. I'm looking for you. There she is. So it was, you know, it was a job well done by everybody, especially Pink Lloyd, because he was the greatest horse that ever lived to me. And I've trained about 160 stakes winners, and I've won 2,100 races, so I think I have some idea what's good or bad. So he was just a super horse. So patient owners. Didn't run till he was 4 years old, raced till he was 9. Won 29 races and 26 stakes. Well, you know, folks, try and repeat that one. Has anybody ever repeated that one? I don't think so. So I can't, and I thank everybody, and everybody was part of that. But I you know, talking about this, I have to thank. I lost my dear wife October 16th. She was only 61 years old. She never missed a race. Without her, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have kept going. And I'm having a hard time keeping it going right now. But she was my biggest fan and Pink Lloyd's biggest fan. And I think of her 3-4 times a day, and without her, she's up there watching. And I love you, Gail. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. To a grand job, to the greatest training feat, and to a team that has put so much into the sport, we are so grateful for your contribution, and you deserved every single win, every time, and the public will still get to see Pink Lloyd at Long Run, and he is quite the star. Thank you so much for being here, and congrats, John.